Hey, I'm Shelly,
And I'm Angela,
and this is Real Talk Dating Exposed.
where we talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of dating in your 40s.
If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe and like us below.
And if you're listening to us on audio, please subscribe as well.
Now let's get into it.
Okay, so first guest on the podcast.
First guest on the podcast.
Dating Exposed.
Dating exposed.
Triple?
Full circle.
Triple exposed.
Nobody told me it was triple exposure. That's a little more.
Yeah.
I was
you
just
signed
gearing
up
up for single exposure.
Yeah, no, you're here, so you're in it. Who are you?
So my name is Paul Green. I'm a local stand-up comedian, improviser, and actor here in Arizona. And, I've been single almost my entire life.
Yeah, and you're how
so
old?
I'm 43.
Okay.
So I met these two lovely ladies at a comedy show of mine that they came to. And they just mentioned they did a podcast about dating. I'm going, I could share some stories.
So
Yeah.
that's
and
why
some
you were
insight.
here.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
And, I do a podcast as well. And I just, love talking to people who are out there in the creative space, creating content. And I do have a girlfriend now.
Yeah.
It is going very well. And so
Yeah.
I also feel like it's a good, you
You
know.
have both. Now you can speak
I
to
have
both sides.
perspectives.
Both perspectives.
I am now a wise man.
I mean, it's still new, though. Don't.
I noticed we're all sitting the exact same way. Did you notice that?
mean,
we're
I
all
did.
very
We're all
left leg
left.
over the right.
You're
Over
already
right.
falling into the podcast
Yes.
vibe.
Yeah.
I'm already one of the girls.
Well, we're
Let's
excited.
talk, ladies.
We're excited to have-
men. Am I right?
We're excited to just
Aren't
have a
they the
man's
worst?
perspective. So funny. Okay, so our first episode, we're gonna do rapid fire.
Oh my gosh.
So
Okay.
Shelly and I are just gonna hit you with questions. You're gonna answer them as quickly as you possibly can.
Okay.
And
Elaborate
if you
as much or as
wanna-
little as
if
you want.
if you want to elaborate and give us context as to what your answer is.
All
we're there
right.
for it.
I'll also do it in any character that you throw out. So it could be like rapid fire.
How about you just throw out? You just roll with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Deal?
Let's do it.
All right. Question 1. Who pays on the first date?
All right. I'm a bit of a traditionalist here. So if I ask a woman out, my expectation is I'm going to pay.
Mm-hmm.
I will. There's been times where I'll be on a date with a woman and it's very clear that she's uncomfortable with that for whatever reason.
With you paying?
With me paying.
Okay.
It doesn't happen very often. I mean,
I was like, when does that ever
not
happen?
very. Usually they're fine not having to pay.
Yeah.
But there's been a couple times where she'll say, I'm happy to contribute. I won't push back a little bit. Be like, I totally appreciate that. I'm fully willing to pay because I know that's a thing for some women that they don't like being in that position. And in that case, I'm not going
You'll
to
split
be.
it.
Yeah, like we can split or whatever. And
Is that a deal? Like, is that a deal breaker? Like, if you have a woman that says, I'm going to pay half, are you like, okay, this is our last? Like, do you find that unattractive?
no,
No. Okay.
no.
Yeah.
That everybody is coming to the date with so much
Baggage.
pre-life, and I don't know what led them to that point. And
Yeah.
so, I try not to view things in like I'm looking for the one kill switch.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you do this one thing, never,
Yeah.
To me, it's more about energy. Like if we had a great conversation and we're vibing or whatever, and then she's like, I'd like to pay for a day. Okay. To me, that's like, oh, that's an interesting element of her life experience and her character that's something that
She wants to do.
that she wants to do, and
You're here
that's
for it.
fine. It hasn't happened very often.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember who it happened with, so I
Yeah.
guess that could
She's
say
not
how it went
Yeah.
after that. But I'm a little bit old school like that.
Yeah.
I really am just totally fine if I ask a woman out. I'm
You're
gonna
gonna
pay.
pay.
And the flip side of that is I also have no expectations that means anything in terms of her obligation. I've
Yeah.
heard stories of, women saying, yeah, I'll literally have guys say, if I'm going to pay on the date, then there's got to be some
Yeah. What are you doing for me?
reciprocal.
Reciprocation,
And I'm going,
yeah.
that is the most disgusting
Yeah.
attitude.
Well, it's good to know you have morals. Thank you.
Well, some of them.
Yeah. So that leads us into question number 2.
Question number 2.
Sex on the first date, yes or no?
Hey, it's 2024. If you're vibing and it's consensual and you're
Yeah.
excited about it. So I was also raised in a very high demand religion. And so I was raised in like a no sex before marriage. And so in this point of my life, I've really tried to shatter any sort of sexual expectation that is put on me externally or culturally. To me, sex is two people who want to do it.
So did you get wild because you were so restrained?
Not really. I didn't have my what's that thing the Amish people do? Rumspring? I don't remember what it is. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
No, I have no idea.
No.
There's this
We're
thing
gonna
in the
have to Google
Amish
it.
culture where when they're like 15 or 16, they let them just go out in the world and go nuts, and they do everything.
So you didn't hit that.
No, I didn't really do that because by the time I had really sort of evolved past my religion, a lot of it was who I was anyway.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to go
Get wild.
Yeah, get wild.
Yeah.
But it did require me to completely reframe my entire value system and hierarchy and what is moral and what's wrong and what's a sin and what's bad and what's good. So when it comes to sex, to me, sex is two people who want to do each other.
Even if it's a first date.
Why would that matter?
not?
If you want to do
we
each
got
other,
a lot of slack for that one.
Yeah,
as
we-
long
I mean, maybe I did because I said I have, and there was pushback on social media for that.
shocker, yeah.
Yeah.
Let people
YOLO.
let people feel whatever
their
they
life.
want to feel about
Yeah.
your sex life. To
Yeah.
me, your sex life is yours, and between whoever you're having sex with. And here's the thing: as long as it's honest, as long as it's totally consensual, enthusiastic, like I'm not about any sort of dishonesty or whatever. If it's like if the guy's doing it because he's being dishonest about his intentions,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like I'm totally cool with just.
Two consenting humans.
Hey, I'm feeling this, but what would that mean? You know what I mean? Like, if we hook up, does that mean you think we're
gonna
in a
get
thing
married?
now? Because maybe I'm not there yet, or maybe it's the opposite. He's like, hey, I'm feeling this. Let's do it, and maybe So anyway, I'm just about honesty, consensual, and consent, enthusiasm. And yeah, sex is beautiful and great. And so I've really tried to alleviate any of the shame, guilt, cultural pressure, any of that.
Love that.
So
Okay.
do it, don't do it.
Yeah.
And the same as the thing, there should be no pressure if one
If you're not
side's feeling
feeling
it
it.
and the other side's feeling okay.
Yeah.
No
Love
problem.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Love that, Paul. All right, next question. Biggest red flag profession for a woman.
I don't believe in red flags
Oh, God.
because to me, red flags are subjective.
So if the girl you are on a date with is a stripper, you're good with that?
It depends on who she is. It depends on what that means.
There has to be something, though, that
Would cause you
would
to
cause
maybe
you
have
to
a little
think
bit of
twice.
like reservation or high alert. Antennas are going up. I got to do some investigating here.
Well,
No?
but people are complicated because if somebody has no red flags, that's a red flag.
Yeah.
Like,
So you're telling me there's not one profession if a woman came to you that you would
I mean,
guess whether
I
or
would-
not you would want to date that human?
I would probably give pause. Yeah, like sex work, I would probably give more of a discussion. Like if
Yeah.
she is like an escort or a prostitute,
Yeah.
because then I would want to know, am I a John here? You know what I mean?
But you would still be okay with it?
If I mean, it's an individual thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Is
okay.
it possible that
No
there is
judgment.
a escort in the world that if I met and she was, the perfect person? To me, it's like an alcoholic. Is that a red flag? It's like alcoholics meet in like AA meeting all the time, but that would be a red flag. But then that works for them, and that works.
So you would get into sex work?
That's
basically-
actually why I'm here. I don't know if you're.
That's pretty much what he just said. Yeah. Just kidding.
I'm saying in general.
Yeah.
I would say, for me personally, that would probably give me pause. Sure, that's not what I'm pursuing. But if I met a woman and that was her profession, you know what I mean? It would be
Yeah.
more individual. I try not to just put these like kind of blanket, all of these people are in this category, and then all these other people. And I get why we do that as humans, because there's a billion people and we have to filter quickly and nobody wants to get hurt. And so we're trying to put all of these, like, I need to put up as many filters and guardrails to keep as many people out to try to protect myself. And I get that and I understand that. But I think I'm at a point now to where I'm going, I've learned just so much about different people, about myself. I mean, it's like I have red flags all over the place, right? And so I don't like the idea that I would get completely just filtered out based off of a profile description. It's like I'm also a human being who's dynamic and who's evolving and changing and growing, and I have my faults and I have my strengths. So I try to avoid blanket sweeps. You know what I mean?
Okay, well, let's see if we can go roll with our next one then. So we did an episode, superficial deal breakers. They're superficial. Okay, we're
It's
human.
like tongue in cheek.
Okay.
Blondes.
So a woman
If
walks.
you're a blonde, you're out.
You're out.
So a woman
We've heard that
you
before.
meet on the apps walks in the door. What are your superficial, oh my God, this is not going to go anywhere deal breakers? Do you need some examples from us, or are you following?
No.
Because we can give you some.
No, I'm superficial as well.
Yeah.
I got to
We
be
all have
attracted
our
to her.
lives. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So what are some things you're like, pet peeves? Nope, I'm out. This is not going to work.
Rudeness. I don't like rude. That's unattractive to me. Maybe like, personality is huge, and I'm a dude. I'm superficial. I like a woman who's attractive, who's put well together.
Yeah.
I don't apologize for that. So if I don't find her physically attractive, then I'll.
And you're not. Yeah.
I mean, but if I didn't find her attractive from the pictures, I probably would not have swiped or matched.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So some of our deal breakers were like flip-flops, jeans. We're out. What were some of the
Small
other?
I wore my
hands.
shoes
I
today.
mean, so like if a
Small-
girl walks in with
small
Crocs
hands.
and socks, like, are you in? You
Crocs and
out?
socks. Yeah, I mean that would probably kind of be like,
Yeah, but nothing you can nothing blaring off the top of your head you can think of.
Well, I mean, beyond what I mentioned.
Yeah.
This is funny because if we're talking about cultural standards and like dating standards, you mentioned paying on the first date. I do have this weird thing. I'm fairly traditional. I will open car doors like most of the time, unless it's just wildly impractical.
Yeah.
It's not something
Like
that
you're
I
climbing through
demand.
bushes to get.
Yeah,
to,
or
doing that.
She's already at the door. I'm not gonna like
Yeah.
block her so that I can open the door for her.
Yeah.
But I had this weird thing where I went on a date, and this was back in my religious days. So I'm dating in a very strict religious community, and so we got to the place, and then she just sat in the car, and then waited for me to get out, walk all the way around, and
open it
open
for
the
her?
door for her. And I went, that seems a little much.
Oh,
like,
that's aggressive.
but that's how she was trained. She was trained that, like, no, as the lady, you sit here and the man needs to come and open your door, and you don't even get out until he opens the door. And even talk to her about it. I'm going, that just seems.
Was it awkward? Like was there a pause?
Like, were you
Across
walking
the-
and then you're like, oh shit, she's still in the car. I got to go
Are
back
you
and
both
get
just
her.
sitting next to each other,
Yeah,
staring?
it's like I was in the restaurant. Like, where is she? I thought. Well, here's the thing: is I was familiar with that custom because it actually was sort of a dating
How you were raised.
custom.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but not every woman subscribed to that custom.
Sure.
But I did have a few who would. They would just sit in the car and wait for me to open the door. So it's like their hand would never touch a door handle.
And you were fine with that?
I was not fine with that.
Yeah, we're
no,
not.
that I just went, this just feels like we're setting up for a relationship of expectation.
Yeah.
And,
That doesn't feel good.
yeah, that's a little much, because then it's also like, I like to feel appreciated. So like if I open the door for you and you're not expecting it, then it's appreciated. But if you're going to sit there and demand it,
Yeah.
like, I will not even open this door until you do it for me. Now it feels obligatory,
Yeah.
which is like,
And then you don't want to do it.
yeah, then I'm not about obligatory anything.
Yeah. I agree with that. Okay, next one, Shell.
All right. Biggest pet peeve with dating apps.
Biggest pet peeves with, I will say, this is part of my. I do find it amusing when I read women's profiles and they are just clearly putting all of their baggage right in the profile. I've talked about filtering, right? Where it's this sort of like overly aggressive. It's almost like they're rejecting you before they even know you. right? It's just trying to filter out as many dudes. And it's like, if you can get past this and this and this and this and this, then maybe I'll even talk to you. You know what I mean?
Can you give us an example?
Oh, yeah. It'll be like, if you don't know what you want, if you don't have this, if you don't have that, you know, if you are looking for a one night stand, if you are not serious, you know, and it's just like, and again, I get why women do that. And so I'm sympathetic to that. But I'm just saying from the man's perspective, I'm just going, even if I passed all your filters, I don't want you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Too much.
It's the expectation. Again, it's kind of like I'm not even going to buy you dinner unless you're going to sleep with me.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of,
Yeah.
it's like, I'm not even going to talk to you.
I don't think the men do that on the dating apps.
I've never had that happen to me.
I've never seen like a man's dating profile that's like, you got to do this, this, and this, and this. Or
I don't
if
think
you're-
it's in the profile.
Oh.
I've heard women express that's sort of in the like there's been a
Got
match
it.
and now there's some conversations and
Is
there's
this around first date, like
Yeah.
sex, like
Yeah.
that expectation?
yeah, like if I'm going to buy you dinner, you know, are we going to hook up
Yeah.
more or less? Otherwise, I'm not going to buy you dinner, right?
my
Which is kind of
goodness.
disgusting.
Yeah.
But I feel it. But that's kind of what I feel what women are doing the other. And it's like, if you're not ready to marry me in 6 months,
Yeah.
then you are not even a human being to me.
Yeah,
But
we're
don't you
not
feel
even-
like on the flip, if they're putting that out there, then they're probably not ready for marriage? I mean, I feel like you're dealing with a lot of unhealed shit if you have to
We're
throw
all
and project.
dealing with our unhealed and we
Okay.
bring it all. So absolutely. Right. And but
They're
that's,
just
but
putting
that's
it out
what
on
I sense.
display on that. That's
Yeah.
yeah. So to you, you're like, no, thank you.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
like,
I can see
yeah,
that.
like I want to go in fresh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And open and
Open but it's like
non-judgy.
if you're not this, not this. I remember I matched with this woman. This was back when I was living in LA, and we matched, and you know we had kind of the initial, hey, how's it going? What do you do? And you know the conversation was cordial, and you know kind of that sort of initial talk or whatever, and then like 4 sentences into this conversation, she goes, so I guess what I really want to know is like, how serious are you? Are you like serious about dating? Because I just need to know if you're like really serious. And she mentioned serious like 6 times. It's like, I don't even know who you are yet.
yeah.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't even want to talk to you unless you can confirm to me that you are a serious person, you know, like serious
Whoa.
about dating.
Yeah.
And and it's funny, she even mentioned how like she gets unmatched all the time. She's like, yeah, all these guys will just match with me
You're
and then
aggressive
immediately
AF.
match. And I'm
Yeah.
going, well, yeah.
Yeah.
To me, that would be the equivalent of me like matching. Hey, how's it going? Oh, you're in real estate. Cool. So how fast can I sleep with you? Are you going to sleep with me on the first date? Or am we have to wait till the second date? Or is it, you know, like,
Yeah.
I just want, you would
Now,
be
do
like,
you feel like it's a red flag though if someone initially up front in the first couple banters of a conversation asks like, what are you looking for? Because I feel like that's worded different. Because I'm going to be honest, I ask that quite often because if you're not in the mind space if you're not looking for the potential of a serious relationship, I don't want to fucking waste my time.
I get it. I
So,
get
but you
that.
take that as the same. So would I be a red flag to you?
I wouldn't say it a red flag. It's a turnoff. I would just say,
Interesting.
I would just go, okay. Again, to me, that would be like, how fast can I sleep with you?
Do you really take it on the same level though? Because what if you're just like, I'm looking to fuck around and have fun, and I'm not looking for a relationship? You think it's wrong to ask if that's something you
I don't think it's wrong. I don't want to get into like wrong or right. I'm just saying that
you think it's a turn?
You don't like it.
You don't like
Yeah.
it.
that's a strategy you're implementing to, you know, protect yourself and to make sure your time isn't wasted. Great. I think there will be men who will appreciate that, and there will be men. And the potential is there are men who may actually be a good long-term thing who would just be turned off by that, right? Just by the same token, there might be women who would totally love to, you know, just have sex and have fun, but me asking for it still might be a turnoff, even if that is something they would be open to. You know what I
that's a good
mean?
point.
It's
Fascinating
Yeah.
perspective.
yeah.
I'm
Okay,
not mad.
next one, ghosting. Have you ghosted? Yes or no?
Sure.
And have you been ghosted?
Sure.
Okay.
Not a fan of it. I mean, I'm probably a little more mature now.
You were a ghoster in your past life.
Trust me, I've been ghosted far more than I've ghosted. All right. I've rarely just gone cold. It usually, if I'm ghosting, it's because there's been a boundary that hasn't been respected, or there's been something that I've expressed that's been ignored, to where I kind of go, I can't really communicate with this person anyway.
Right. There's no point to continue to
Right.
like explain. Yeah.
And in the defense of a lot of women, like if I've been pushy or whatever, you know, or I'm blowing up their phone or whatever, then I kind of,
You deserve to be
I kind of
ghosted. Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Did you do that?
huh? Oh,
You've done
sure,
that?
sure.
Yeah.
I've not always been the charming, charismatic man you've seen before you. All right, I've been the insecure, needy. I've
Yeah.
done every turnoff. You know that you know.
Are you an anxious attachment style?
I don't know what that means,
Okay.
Just tying all our podcasts into
but the
one.
fact that I don't know that makes me really anxious. So maybe I do. I don't know.
All right, next one.
All right. No kiss. Does that mean no good? Like on a first date? When do you expect a kiss from someone? And do you go in for the first kiss?
I try to have no expectations.
That was 17
That was
questions
rapid
at
fire.
once.
Yeah. I try to have no expectations because again, I really believe in the spontaneity. So to me, it's if we're vibing and I'm feeling the vibe and I feel she's feeling the vibe, which by the way, I've missed that before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's oh, I thought that was a this and it's a that. Fair enough. But again, I don't have any reservations if I'm vibing. It's like the sex thing. If we're vibing and whatever.
Yeah.
So
But if you feel like you're vibing and there isn't a kiss, are you like, okay, we're on 2 different pages? We're not vibing then.
not necessarily.
Do
To
you
me,
ask-
it's just information.
Do
I
you
just
ask before you go in for it?
You want to be like,
May I
wanna-
kiss you?
I probably have before, not recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you're just going for the kill?
You just
Yeah.
give-
Now, again, it's just an energy. You
Yeah,
know, like
for
at the
sure.
end of the day, if I give a hug, the hug lingers, and you feel the chemistry. Then I'm just I'm gonna go in and
hope for the best.
hope for the best. And you know, if she turns the cheek or she backs out, then okay.
Yeah.
I misread that, or you know, my hormones, you know, overrode empathy or whatever.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Do you address it after? If you're vibing with that person and then you get rejected, like, do you bring it up again, or you just pray the next time it's going to be better?
Yeah, I've done a lot of praying for sure. I'm sure I've talked about it before
Yeah.
because I have a tendency to be an overtalker and overthinker. That's why I do comedy. So I'm a lot more transparent. But yeah, I'm sure I've had conversations before.
Yeah.
You know, a girl I'm dating right now, you know, we just went on a date. We're having a long conversation. It was going really well. I wasn't feeling any physical chemistry from her though. Like she wasn't.
Open.
I don't
Or
want to say
giving you the
putting out. I don't
vibes.
mean putting out in the I'm putting out, but I mean I wasn't feeling like she was vibing me like romantically, but we were having this great conversation and we're talking or whatever, and then you know, it was time to go. We met at this bar, and then you know, I just walked her back to her car, and then we gave this hug, and then in the hug there was like, oh, there's some,
Yeah.
okay. And I'm going like, I feel like I want to kiss this woman. And so I went and kissed, and she kissed me back. And then it was like, it was really electric. And then, you know, and again, like, well, I don't want to get too specific because she's probably going to watch this. I'll, you know, I won't go beyond that. But, you know, it was like, but even after that kiss, I had no idea if there was going to be a second date or not. And the second date didn't even happen until like 3 weeks later. Like she was out of town, all this stuff happened. And so during that entire time, I was just going, well, maybe that was a one date, one kiss wonder, and it was really great. I would like to see her again, you know. And since we've talked about it, you know, she has mentioned that like I had done some things that were kind of a turnoff as well. You know what I mean? That were red flaggy, if you will. You know what I mean? And so she was kind of unsure, but we navigated all of that without really expecting. You know, it's the challenge of trying to detach from a expectation of an outcome. And just saying, I'm going to go into this in
Open.
good faith, open. I'm going to be authentic. I'm going to, you know, to be myself. I'm going to be as authentic as anybody will allow themselves to be on a first date. You know, we all have egos and insecurities. But I think where I messed up almost my entire life is always needing it to go somewhere for me to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Oh, if this doesn't go well, it's, you know, then my internal insecurity narrative is going to go off. Oh, I don't deserve love. Oh, I'm this, I'm that, because this woman didn't behave in the manner that, you know, I needed it to go for me to be okay with me. And so to me, it took a lot of inner work. This is turning into a TED Talk. Do your inner work.
Do your inner work.
This
We
is
have a lot of-
sponsored by BetterHelp.
We have
And,
a lot of TED Talks here. Yeah.
and so now like even with her, I was going like, would I've loved to have gone out with her again? Yeah. If I never went out with her again, like, okay, well then
Then it wasn't meant to be.
then it wasn't meant to be.
Releasing
And
expectations, I think, is like probably hard for I think it's something everyone has a harder time with.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
for sure.
Like getting to that point. So
Yeah.
we commend you.
All right, we're
Well,
wrapping up.
it took me
rapid
into my
fire.
40s, so.
Wrapping up rapid fire. Thank you.
is it going to be slow fire after
This
this?
is- yeah, this is
now we're
slow.
going to go to the slow questions. Do you like? I don't know.
Thank you,
Anyways,
everyone,
yeah,
for
thank
tuning
you for tuning
into
in.
Rapid Fire Questions with Paul Green.
Yes.